So, first and foremost, this is a Terminator household, okay? T2 is one of the best sequels of all time. That's not up for debate. Everybody knows that. Well, okay, maybe some people think that Terminator is better than T2, but we don't have time for that. Some people, not me, maybe me, think that maybe Manhunter is better than Silence of the Lambs. But we're not talking about that. It's not for debate. What we are going to talk about is the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Oh, wait, sorry. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So, everybody was like, hey, you need to watch Sarah Connor Chronicles. You need to watch Sarah Connor Chronicles. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching it now. All right, so here we go. And cue the T2 theme. In November 2009, C2 Pictures, the studio behind 2003's Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines,
talk to the hand,
decided the franchise's next move would be to the small screen. Partnering with Warner Brothers and bringing Fox on board for the pilot, the groundwork was set for a new chapter in the Terminator saga. The pilot was written by Josh Friedman, who also served as the series' executive producer, marking this his entry into television. David Nutter signed on to direct the pilot, fully committing to the project and sidelining other opportunities to safeguard the vision James Cameron had established. And honestly, who could blame him? Nutter directed 3 of the series' standout episodes, though one of them is a bit debatable for me. But after that, he moved on to projects like The Mentalist, Arrow, and other shows I didn't watch. No offense, just not my thing. That said, Nutter's track record speaks for itself. Before Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, he'd already made his mark with Smallville, Dark Angel, and Roswell, all shows we should absolutely circle back to at some point. When it comes to the timeline, the quixotic nature of the Terminator saga is chaos in its purest form. Timeline paradoxes and wild attempts at fixing things. It feels like an epic, futuristic Don Quixote tale with Skynet, Sarah Connor, and time loops all embodying those delusionally optimistic efforts to save or doom humanity.
Nice night for a walk.
Okay, so, not that you need this, but Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, follows Sarah and her son John as they try to prevent Judgment Day while being relentlessly hunted by Terminators. After surviving the events of Terminator 2, they're forced to live a life on the run with the help of Cameron, a Terminator sent to protect John from the future.
Come with me if you want to live.
Along the way, they navigate a world full of dangers, both human and machine, while struggling to alter their fate and make sure John can someday lead humanity against Skynet. Oh, and we get to have Terminator of the Week stories. Yay! As for casting, Lena Headey, who most of us already know as the notorious Cersei Lannister at this point, was recommended by a friend on the production. Headey had feared and revered Sarah Connor, so she knew stepping into those combat boots would be a major thing. Thomas Dekker was chosen to play 15-year-old John Connor and would consider his version a continuation of Edward Furlong's. Dekker sees his version as darker and obviously more mature, as he wanted to start John as an angsty teen, coming into his place as the future leader of the Resistance, which I think is a great choice on his part. He also looks a hell of a lot like Michael Biehn in my opinion.
Nobody else comes through. It's just him and me.
To round out our mains, and then obviously last but not least, we have Summer Glau, Texas native, as our savior Terminator, Cameron. Yes, we all know where the name is derived from. Glau was originally resistant to play the character as she didn't think she had the look nor the delicate balance of cyborg and human. Eventually, her mom convinced her to submit a tape, and the rest is history. Also, don't worry, I'm also a part of the Crush Train. I love her voice, it's like a shoegaze album dream.
How does this affect the safety of one John Connor?
It doesn't. But next summer we're going to have to repaint.
Oh, and David fucking Silver, aka Brian Austin Green. I'll be honest, I was skeptical, but he really drove it home as Kyle's brother Derek. Okay, alright, let's dive into the episodes before I go down a rabbit hole. I cannot be stopped, but have to. Much like a Terminator. Season 1, Episode 2, Nothi Seaton. I'll admit, I'm still a little upset that Enrique had to go down this route. On a lighter note though, John being all angsty while trying to record his voicemail on his flip phone is hilarious. And let's not forget him going to the internet cafe with the 1337 address. Our tech wizard somehow misses the giant monitor behind him, broadcasting his search terms for everyone to see. But we can go easy on him. That's advanced tech for the time. Now, we have to address the Cromartie head in the time bubble controversy. This was such a big deal that creator Josh Friedman had to step in and clarify things. You remember the rule from Kyle Reese in the first movie, right? Only living organisms can go through time. Well, Friedman claimed Cromartie's head had flesh on it, but we couldn't see it because it was burning off too quickly. And because no one wants to see flaming flesh, I guess? So, does this count? Should we even go deep into this? Either way, it's one of those moments that gets the fan base all in a tizzy. And guys, like, I swear every episode, can we stop being so mean to Cameron? It's like every 5 minutes, it's so annoying. It feels like everyone's just being unnecessarily harsh to her. Meanwhile, Sarah is hit with some super heavy news. Cameron tells her she's gonna die of cancer in 2005. By the end of the episode, we see Sarah in a doctor's office getting blood drawn, a reminder of her humanity and vulnerability. It's always a little deflating to think that someone as strong as Sarah Connor could be taken down by something like cancer. I know, I'm sorry. Season 1, Episode 7, The Demon Hand. This episode kicks off with one of the season's best Easter eggs, Cameron rocking the T-1000 look. So cool. Meanwhile, Agent Ellison is now fully in the thick of it, past the point of no return. After diving into Sarah's old institution tapes and getting his hands on the T-888 arm, he takes his newfound knowledge straight to Dr. Silberman. What starts as a seemingly civil meetup quickly escalates into chaos. Poison, stabbing, and arson, with Ellison as the unlucky target. Thankfully, Sarah swoops in just in time to punch the hell out of Silberman, saving Ellison and snagging the cyborg arm for herself. Priorities. This episode is packed with nods to the franchise's roots, but instead of feeling like cheap fan service, they've woven them in perfectly. Bonus points for the poetic twist of Silberman ending up in the same facility where Sarah once ranted about Judgment Day. Season 2, Episode 3, The Mousetrap. I've been waiting to address that Mayhem himself, Dean Winters, is in the show. He plays Charlie Dixon, the EMT and Sarah's once fiance, whom she had to leave behind. Agent Ellison advises Charlie to get out of town since Cromartie is hot on their trail, but of course, Cromartie catches up with him and kidnaps Charlie's wife, Michelle, also Penny from Lost. This forces Charlie to bring Sarah back into the mess, and she walks right into it with her time-traveling entourage, all while John is off running around with Riley. I saw some people complaining that John isn't acting like the future leader of the Resistance, which in my opinion is a bit of a stretch. I mean, the guy is a teenager with the weight of the world on his shoulders. Can we cut him some slack? He's angsty, sure, but these moments are important for shaping the John Connor we're meant to see. Cromartie eventually finds John, who's been out in the open. After Cromartie nearly drowns John, he manages to swim to safety. Breathless and freaked out when he hits the surface, he asks Cameron for help, only for her to look at him and simply say,
I don't swim.
Yeah, just figured that out.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Things get worse though. Cromartie detonates a bomb, and in the chaos, Michelle is fatally injured. Charlie's desperate pleas to Sarah in the van are gut-wrenching, especially when we remember Sarah's own words. Death has always followed her. There's a tender moment between Charlie and John, one of the few father figures John's known, someone who truly cared for him and his mom. Sadly, Charlie becomes just another casualty in their dangerous journey. Also, Beastmaster Easter egg. Season 2, Episode 4, Allison from Palmdale. Cameron malfunctions and reverts to her past identity as Allison Young, revealing memories of her life before becoming a Terminator. Her father is an architect, her mother is a music teacher, and her last birthday party. Blau is amazing in this episode, seamlessly shifting between Cameron's cold, robotic persona and Allison's vulnerable humanity. After a malfunction in a grocery store, Cameron is arrested and spends the day with Jody, a homeless teen who winds up being a spoiled rich kid. When they wind up at a shelter, she's forced to share details of her life, but as the day unfolds, she reverts to discussing her mission to kill John, caught somewhere between the past and the present. When Allison and Cameron's memories start to blend, she loses control and can't snap out of it before nearly choking Jody to death. It's probably my favorite episode. You leave wishing you knew more about Allison, and it made me feel worse that they're so mean to her. No, I'm not letting it go. Season 2, Episode 22, Born to Run. Sarah's back behind bars and our little family is fragmented. For me, the standout moment in this journey has been watching Cameron's evolution. I knew John wouldn't leave his mom behind, but seeing Cameron tear through the prison, easily one of the most badass moments in the series. Then there's John Henry, or Cromartie. Sorry, John playing D&D on a loop. Garrett Dillahunt is awesome. It's become a favorite scene of mine. Like, DL Cooper is Dougie in The Return, stuck on autopilot but still captivating. I won't lie, I got a little weepy when John finds Cameron lifeless in the chair. You want him to carry her, to find the chip, to do something, but he doesn't. Instead, he's pulled into the future without Sarah, who's left promising, "I'll stop it," as John fades from her timeline. Things aren't all bad though. He finally meets his dad, heartthrob Jonathan Jackson, and is reunited with Derek when they make the jump. And then there's Cameron. When John sees her again, the subtle relief on his face says it all. It's a moment that leaves you wanting more. Earlier, just before heading to meet Catherine Weaver, "I love you, Shirley Manson," John tells Sarah he loves her, a moment that hits hard given everything they've been through. At the very end, we hear Sarah's quiet, heartfelt response.
I love you too.
It's a bittersweet echo that just lingers. And after all that, the series ends. Just like that. I get it now, everyone, I really do. That's where they left this? Was the only thing I could say. The Sarah Connor Chronicles is probably one of the more tragic stories in television history. To start, and it's probably the most commonly said thing about the show, it ends on a cliffhanger. One that leaves so much unresolved and fans with a sense of abandonment. The series was also a casualty of the 2007-2008 writer's strike, which shortened its first season and created a significant gap between seasons 1 and 2. The delay led to a loss of momentum, and despite a solid second season, for most, the damage had already been done. This combination of a gut punch cliffhanger and the disruptive effects of the strike ensured that the show never got the resolution it deserved, leaving everyone to wonder, what could have been. Where can we watch this? Well, they've got it on lockdown right now. It was on Hulu about a year or so ago. You can buy a physical copy because, trust us, you'll need them again. Or you can get creative. I'll say this and hope it's a safe space. The Sarah Connor Chronicles is probably my favorite of the Terminator timelines, right after the original Terminator and T2. While it certainly has its WB teen drama moments, it kept me locked in and left me with less of a, well, that was a nostalgia cash grab. Not that there's anything wrong with that approach in some cases, I guess, but I feel like that's what most reboots or sequels turn into. And Sarah Connor Chronicles manages to dodge that. It's hard to find a fan who doesn't at least give the series credit for taking interesting dives into the timeline and making choices that I feel ultimately paid off. This series was one of the most requested comebacks, yet it never did come back. So were you one of the ones that were hoping that it would come back after it went off the air? Did you think it was a total injustice? Let us know what you think. And let me know if you want to do more episodes from the series, because there's so much more to explore. All right, until next time, my cosmic companions.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.